My fiancé called me, just a housewife, in Arabic at his family dinner, assuming I wouldn't understand. His mother nodded in agreement, and his brothers laughed. I didn't correct him. I just smiled, finished my tea, and called my contact at his company. 3 weeks later, I walked into his office as the new VP of Client Relations, 3 levels above him. The look on Callum's face when I signed his termination papers made every silent moment worth it. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're a subscriber, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. The alarm went off at 5:30 a.m., but Callum Monteux was already awake, practicing his presentation voice in the bathroom. Strategic operational excellence, he said to his reflection, smoothing his Lebanese accent into something more neutral. I lay in bed remembering when he used to practice with me. 2 years ago, when he was just a senior account manager and I was director of marketing operations at Hendricks Consulting. Before I'd resigned 6 months ago to focus on our future. In the kitchen, I made coffee in the expensive Italian machine Callum had bought after his last promotion, replacing my simple one without asking. Our downtown Chicago apartment overlooked the river, all glass and steel that Callum insisted we needed for his image. Addie, have you seen my navy tie? The Hermes one? I pointed to the hall closet. He returned, tie knotted perfectly, already scrolling his phone. Big day, I said. The new regional director arrives today, right? This afternoon. Sarah something. Jenkins, I think. From the London office. He barely looked up. Between you and me, I hope she actually understands the American market. Last thing we need is some British executive imposing European strategies. He kissed my forehead absently. Don't wait up. The reception will run late, then the senior team is doing drinks after. After he left, I opened LinkedIn. My profile picture was 2 years old, back when I still had a title under my name. Callum had posted a photo of himself, ready to meet new leadership and demonstrate the excellence our team has built. His brother Moses commented, better impress this new boss. Can't have the wife being the breadwinner. Callum replied, don't worry, I've got this covered. Besides, Addie's happy focusing on home life now. At 2:30 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. Is this Addison Bailey? The voice was crisp, British, professional. Female. Yes, this is she. Ms. Bailey, this is Sarah Jenkins from Meridian Global Partners. I'm in Chicago temporarily and wanted to reach out personally. I've been reviewing personnel files, and your name appears in several places. You were instrumental in landing 3 major accounts 2 years ago: Riverside, Michigan Manufacturing, Downtown Hospitality. Yet all 3 are credited to Callum Monteux in our system. My stomach dropped. I collaborated with Callum on those, I said carefully. We were dating. I was happy to help. I see. I've also reviewed your background. 7 years at Hendricks, consistent promotions, excellent feedback. Then you resigned 6 months ago. May I ask why? Personal reasons. Wedding planning. And are you happy with that decision? No one had asked me that. I don't know, I admitted. I have a proposition, Ms. Bailey. There's a cafe near Millennium Park. Could you meet me in an hour? I looked around the empty apartment. At the wedding binders. At the life that had shrunk to fit someone else's expectations. I'll be there. Sarah Jenkins was mid-40s, perfectly tailored, but her smile was warm. I'll be direct, she said once we'd sat down. I've seen this pattern before. Talented woman helps partner build career, partner gets promoted, woman steps back temporarily, and suddenly she's erased from the narrative. She slid a folder across the table. Every major account Callum claims originated during the time you were together. After you resigned, his new business development dropped 60%. He's been stressed. I'm sure. But I'm also sure that 3 team members independently mentioned how things changed after you left. One said you used to help navigate difficult client conversations. Another said you'd prepare him for major presentations. They said he used to give you credit, then you became just his fiancé, instead of his colleague. I stared at my untouched coffee. I need a director of strategic partnerships, Sarah continued. Someone who understands this market and knows how to build authentic client relationships. The position reports directly to me. It's a leadership role, competitive salary, full benefits. I can't. We're getting married in 4 months. His family already thinks. The director of strategic partnerships is C-suite adjacent. Callum is a senior account director. You would outrank him by 2 levels. The words hit like cold water. He doesn't know that, does he? Sarah observed. He's been telling you this regional director position is at his level. We're not peers, Ms. Bailey. I'm his boss's boss. And if you accept, you would be too. That evening at his mother's house in Oak Park felt suffocating. Callum Monteux handed me a wooden spoon the moment I arrived. Stir this while I prepare the salad. Have you looked at that house I mentioned? 3 blocks away, perfect for starting a family. You wouldn't need to work, Callum makes plenty. I've been considering going back to work, actually. The knife paused. Back to work? Why? Callum provides well. You should focus on preparing for marriage, for children. That's how we do things in our culture. At dinner, the entire family gathered. Callum, his parents Joey and Layla, his brothers Moses and Ivan, his sister Ivy. Ivan leaned over and said something in Arabic I wasn't supposed to understand. At least you don't have to worry about Addie working there and complicating things. Callum laughed and responded in Arabic, his voice casual, dismissive. Don't worry. She's just a housewife now. Content to stay home. Callum repeated. Just a housewife. I set down my fork, my hand steady. I'd taken Arabic in college, for semesters because I'd been fascinated by Middle Eastern history. When I met Callum's family, I understood more than I let on, thinking it would be rude to eavesdrop. Now I wished I'd corrected their assumptions from the beginning. Actually, I said, cutting through the conversation, I need to tell you all something. I've been offered a job. A director-level position. And I'm considering taking it. Callum's fork clattered. What? When? Where? This week. It's a consulting firm. Addie, we've talked about this. You talked about it, I corrected. I agreed because it seemed like what everyone wanted. Layla interjected, we only want what's best for you. What's best for me? Or what's most convenient for everyone else? I looked around the table. I'm tired of pretending I'm happy being. The Arabic words landed like grenades. Callum went white. Addie. You thought I wouldn't understand. You thought you could say whatever you wanted and I'd just smile and nod. I stood up. I'm taking the job. Sarah offered me a chance to be who I actually am, not who your family wants me to be. I walked out. Callum drove in silence, jaw clenched. How much did you understand? He finally asked. Enough. I didn't mean, my brothers were joking. I was just going along with it. Just a housewife. That's what I am to you now. You're taking it out of context. Then give me the context, Callum. Explain how calling me that in a language you thought I wouldn't understand is anything other than disrespectful. He pulled into our parking garage. You're being dramatic. It was a casual comment. You know how my family is, they have traditional views. I was keeping the peace. By throwing me under the bus? Why are you doing this? Why now? Everything was fine until you started getting ideas about going back to work. Everything was fine for you. I was convenient. Quietly helping with your career while you took all the credit. That's not fair. I've always acknowledged your help. Have you? When's the last time you mentioned me in a presentation? When's the last time you treated me like a partner instead of an accessory? You're the one who wanted to step back. You said you were tired. You encouraged that decision because it was easier for you. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel, it means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Because having me at home meant you didn't have to worry about me outshining you. The words hung between us. Is that what you really think? Callum asked quietly. I think I've spent 6 months making myself smaller so you could feel bigger. And I'm done. Inside, Callum paced while I stood by the window. So what now? You take this mystery job and we just figure it out? I haven't decided yet. Haven't decided about the job or haven't decided about us? I turned to face him. Do you love me, or do you love what I do for you? Of course I love you. Do you love me, or do you love the support, the help, the way I make your life easier? Those aren't mutually exclusive, Addie. They should be. He moved closer. Look, I'm sorry about tonight. But you have to understand, my family has expectations. I can't just. You can't what? Stand up for me? Defend me? Treat me like an equal? I do treat you like an equal. No. You treat me like a supporting character in your story. And I don't want to be anyone's supporting character anymore. I went to the bedroom and closed the door, leaving him standing alone. Through the wall, I heard him punch something. I pulled out my phone and stared at Sarah Jenkins's number. Monday morning, I would call her. Monday morning, everything would change. I woke to an empty bed. Found Callum in the kitchen, already dressed for the gym. I'm meeting Moses for lunch, he said flatly. I need space to think. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say? I want you to say you're sorry. That you overreacted. That you're not actually considering blowing up our life over a stupid comment. It wasn't just the comment. Then what was it? Because everything was fine until you decided it wasn't. You were building something. I was supporting you. There's a difference. He grabbed his keys. I'll be back tonight. Maybe by then you'll have clarity. The door closed. I stood in the silence, then called my mother. Mom, can I come home for a few days? At my childhood home in Naperville, Mom made tea while I unpacked. So you're really doing this? Taking the job? I think so. I'm calling Sarah Monday. And Callum? Callum thinks I'm sabotaging our relationship. Mom stirred her tea. Marriage isn't about making yourself smaller. It's about finding someone who makes space for you to grow. I don't think Callum knows how to do that. That afternoon, I researched Sarah Jenkins. Cambridge MBA, 15 years at Meridian, consistently promoted. Articles about inclusive leadership, developing talent, refusing to perpetuate systems that held her back. Then I looked up Meridian's org chart. Sarah Jenkins, Regional Director. Below her, 4 direct reports including Director of Strategic Partnerships. 3 levels down, Callum Monteux, Senior Account Director. He'd been telling everyone he was practically Sarah's peer. The org chart told a different story. Sunday evening, Callum texted, Mom's expecting us for dinner. We should go. Talk things through as a family. When I arrived, the entire family was there. All of them. Even Ivy from Milwaukee. An intervention. Addison, come sit, Layla said, gesturing to the empty chair between Callum and Joey. I remained standing. I'd rather not. Joey used his patriarchal voice, we're family. We should discuss this together. Discuss what? Ivy said sharply, your decision to potentially damage Callum's career and reputation. I'm not damaging anything. I'm considering a job offer. Moses, at his company. Where everyone will know you're his fiancé. Where every success you have will make him look weak. Why would my success make him look weak unless you're all assuming I should be less than him? Layla stood. A man needs to feel like a man in his workplace. That's not traditional, that's human nature. That's insecurity. And I'm not responsible for managing Callum's insecurity. Addie. Callum's voice was measured. Can we talk privately? In the den, he took my hands. Please. Don't do this. Don't take this job. We can find you something else, somewhere else. Just not at Meridian. Not where everyone knows us. You'll support me as long as I don't threaten your position. As long as you don't humiliate me, yes. The honesty was almost refreshing. I can have a career as long as it's smaller than yours. I can have success as long as it doesn't eclipse yours. I can be Addison Bailey as long as I'm always less than Callum Monteux. That's not what I'm saying. It's exactly what you're saying. I walked to the door. I'm taking the job, Callum. Then we're done. If you take that job, the engagement is off. Okay. The word surprised us both. Okay, he repeated. If that's what it takes for me to stop making myself small, then okay. I walked out through the living room where his family sat stunned, and out the front door. My phone rang immediately. His mother, his sister, Moses. I didn't answer. Instead, I called Sarah Jenkins. I'm in. When do I start? Monday morning at Meridian's temporary offices, Sarah had the contract ready. Director of Strategic Partnerships. 6 figures. Benefits. Signing bonus that made my eyes water. This is the org chart, Sarah said. I want you to see exactly where you'll sit. There it was. Sarah at top. 4 direct reports including my position. 3 levels down, Callum Monteux. He doesn't know yet, Sarah said. The announcement goes out company-wide at 3 o'clock. Are you taking this job to prove something to him? I thought about it. No. I'm taking it because for the first time in 6 months, I feel like myself again. Then welcome to the team. I signed. I met Ebony Mills, my former Hendricks colleague who transferred to Meridian last year, for lunch. You're really coming back, she gasped. And you know Callum is. My ex-fiancé as of yesterday, yes. Her eyes went wide. Wait. What? I realized I was marrying someone who wanted a supporting character, not a partner. So you dumped him and took a job where you outrank him? That's energy I didn't know you had. Neither did I. Is it terrible I'm excited to see his face when the announcement goes out? It's human. She leaned forward. But are you ready for the fallout? This is going to be messy. Let them talk. She grinned. Okay. I like this version of you. At 2:55, I sat in Sarah's office when the company-wide email went out. My phone exploded. LinkedIn notifications. Congratulations from old colleagues. Friend requests from Meridian employees. Then, at 3:02, Callum. I didn't answer. It rang again. Text messages flooded in. Call me now, what the hell did you do? You went behind my back, my entire team is asking me questions. I typed back, I didn't do this to you. I did this for me. There's a difference. Then I blocked his number. More messages from unknown numbers. His brothers. His mother. His father. I blocked them all. Moses sent from his work email, you've humiliated our entire family. Callum gave you everything and this is how you repay him. You're a snake. I deleted it without responding. But one message made me pause. From Ivy, I don't understand your choices, but I hope you find what you're looking for. You were always kind to me. Not approval. But acknowledgement. I closed my laptop and looked at the skyline. Somewhere, Callum was fielding questions about how his ex-fiancée was now 3 levels above him. And I was here, in my office, with my title, feeling more like myself than I had in years. Mom texted, I'm so proud of you. Come home for dinner tonight. I smiled and typed back, I'll be there. Sarah stood. Ready for your first day? Ready. The first 3 days blurred together. Onboarding, introductions, system access. Ebony became my guide. That's Dylan from finance, talks forever. That's Rachel from operations, brilliant but will steal your lunch. And that, she nodded toward men by the water cooler, is Callum's team. They were staring. They know, I said. Everyone knows. The betting pool on how long until one of you transfers is up to $300. I put 50 on you outlasting him. By Wednesday, I'd learned the rhythms. Sarah's 8:30 briefings. Thursday leadership meetings at 2. My team reported Mondays. And Callum's office was on the 17th floor. 2 floors below mine. You can't avoid him forever, Ebony said. I can try. Thursday afternoon, running late for leadership, I jabbed the elevator button for 19. The doors were closing when a hand shot through. Callum stepped inside. 17 floors had never felt longer. You look well, he said, voice tight. Thank you. Settling in okay? Yes. 18. 18 and a half. You didn't have to do this. There were other companies. This was the right opportunity. Right for you or right for humiliating me? I turned to look at him. He looked tired. I didn't take this job to hurt you, Callum. But you knew it would. I knew it would be uncomfortable. I didn't realize you'd take it as a personal attack. 19th floor. The doors opened. Everything you do feels like a personal attack lately. I stepped out. Maybe that says more about you than me. The doors closed on his face. Sarah was already seated with the other directors, Michael from finance, Jennifer from operations, David from technology. We're reviewing Q4 projections and account vulnerabilities, Sarah said. The meeting was fascinating. Real strategy, real problems. The Riverside account is concerning, Michael said. Revenue down 18% quarter over quarter. The relationship manager is Callum Monteux. Anyone talk to him? I have, Jennifer said. He's attributing it to market conditions. David snorted. Their industry is up 12%. That's not market conditions, that's relationship management failure. Sarah looked at me. Addie, you have history with Riverside, correct? I nodded. I introduced them 2 years ago. The CEO, Marcus Williams, and I went to Northwestern together. Could you reconnect? Get a sense of what's happening? I can reach out. After the meeting, Sarah pulled me aside. I know discussing Callum's performance is uncomfortable. It's not personal, it's business, I interrupted. If the account is failing, it needs to be addressed. She smiled. Good answer. That evening, I called Marcus Williams. Addison Bailey, he answered warmly. Heard you were back. Congratulations. Thank you. I wanted to check in about your account. I saw some concerning metrics. Ah. Yeah, about that. Honestly? Callum. He sighed. When you first connected us, the relationship was great. Then you vanished, and Callum took over. It's been different. Different how? Competent, but no strategic thinking. No proactive outreach. It feels transactional. Half the time, I get the sense he's just checking boxes. We've been talking to other firms. What if I told you I'm back? That I'd be overseeing strategic partnerships, including yours? Silence. Then maybe we should talk before we make final decisions. When can you come to Milwaukee? Next week? Next week works. And Addie? It's good to have you back. The version of Meridian you represented was worth the investment. What we've been getting, not so much. Monday morning, I took the early train to Milwaukee. Riverside Technologies occupied a converted brewery, all exposed brick. Marcus met me in the lobby himself. We spent 3 hours in his conference room. Not talking contracts, but about his actual challenges. Healthcare tech expansion. Regulatory concerns. Talent acquisition. This, Marcus said as we wrapped up, this is what was missing. Callum would have talked about Meridian's capabilities. You listen to what we actually need. That's the job. Maybe for you. Not for everyone. I'm recommending to my board we renew for 3 years. But I want you as primary contact, not Callum. I'll make it happen. On the train back, I drafted the transition plan. Clean, professional, justified by performance data. Callum would be reassigned. I would take over Riverside directly. He was going to hate it. When I turned my phone back on after meetings, it exploded. 17 missed calls from Callum. 9 voicemails. 12 texts. I listened in order, watching his composure disintegrate. Voicemail 1, Addie, it's Callum. We need to talk about Riverside. I heard you went to Milwaukee. That's my account. You should have consulted me. Call me back. Professional. Controlled. Voicemail 2, I just got off the phone with Marcus. He mentioned a transition plan. What transition plan? This is inappropriate. I've managed this account for 2 years. Call me immediately. Edge appearing. Voicemail 3, Jennifer told me you're presenting the Riverside transition to Sarah tomorrow. You're seriously taking my biggest account? After everything? This is personal and you know it. Clear anger. Voicemail 4, my numbers are down because you sabotaged me. You left, took all your relationships, and now you're swooping back to make me look incompetent. How this makes me look to the team. Blame. Deflection. Voicemail 5, I went to Sarah. Told her this is conflict of interest. She said the accounts came through your network, so technically you brought them in. She's siding with you. Of course she is. Just call me. Please. Desperation. Voicemail 6, Moses says I should go to HR, file hostile work environment. Is that what you want? Because I will. Empty threats. Voicemail 7, everyone's congratulating you on LinkedIn about Riverside. Talking about how you saved the account. Like I was the one who broke it. You did this on purpose. Paranoia. Voicemail 8, I can't work here anymore. Not with you 3 floors above me, taking my accounts, making me look incompetent. I built this career, Addie. And you're destroying it because I hurt your feelings? Voice cracking. Voicemail 9, I'm done. With this job. With this company. With you. I'm turning in my resignation tomorrow. I hope you can live with yourself. The text messages were worse. Rapid fire between voicemails. You're a snake, everyone sees what you're doing, this is abuse of power, you were always jealous of my success, this is why I called you just a housewife, my mother is crying, I have a recruiter meeting tomorrow, I hope this was worth destroying what we had. And finally, I'm done. Turning in my resignation tomorrow. Hope you can live with yourself. I sat in my parked car reading and rereading. He was quitting because he couldn't handle being in a building where I outranked him. Part of me felt guilty. A small part, the part that had loved him once. But a bigger part felt relief. His failure wasn't my responsibility anymore. His ego wasn't my burden. His mother's tears weren't my problem. I deleted every message without responding. Then I went home to Mom's house, where she had dinner waiting and asked about my day with genuine interest. Tuesday morning, Mom was making French toast. Callum says he's resigning, I said. And how do you feel? Relieved? Guilty? Both? You didn't make him resign, honey. You just stopped making yourself smaller so he could feel bigger. His last voicemail, he sounded broken. Good. I looked up, surprised. She sat across from me. I'm sorry, but good. You needed to hear him break. Not because you want him to suffer, but because you needed to hear consequences for treating people badly. His mother's crying. Let her cry. She raised a son who thinks women exist to make him look good. By the time I got to the office, rumors were grinding. Did you hear Callum's resigning? I heard he got fired. I heard they had a screaming match. Ebony caught me at my door. Ignore them. Half of them are mad because you did what they wish they could, refuse to be diminished. He's really resigning? Meeting with HR at 11. Could be exit interview, could be a threat. At 10:30, Sarah called me in. Callum's claiming hostile work environment. Says you're targeting him because of personal history. That's not. I know. I've reviewed everything. The account was declining. You leveraged an existing relationship to save it. That's literally your job. She paused. HR wants me to give you the choice to recuse yourself from decisions involving his accounts. Not because you did anything wrong, but to protect you from bias accusations. The easy path would be stepping back. But stepping back validated his narrative. No, I said. I won't recuse myself. I'll document everything, keep interactions professional, but I won't handicap myself because he's uncomfortable reporting to a woman he used to control. Sarah smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. At 2:47 p.m., the company-wide email went out. After careful consideration, Callum Monteux has decided to pursue opportunities outside Meridian. We thank him for his contributions and wish him well. Bloodless. Professional. Ebony texted, he actually did it. Guess his ego couldn't handle not being the biggest fish. Then an unknown number, this is Layla Monteux. I hope you're satisfied. My son is without a job because you couldn't handle him being successful. You destroyed him out of jealousy. We welcomed you into our family and this is how you repay us. You should be ashamed. I read it 3 times. Then typed back, I didn't destroy Callum. I just stopped building him up at my own expense. There's a difference. I wish him well. Her response, you are a disgrace. No decent man will ever want you after this. Blocked. Moses texted from work email, hope it was worth it. You humiliated our entire family. Blocked. Ivan on LinkedIn, my brother gave you everything and you threw it away for a job. Pathetic. Blocked. My phone finally went quiet. Wednesday morning, HR sent me standard separation paperwork for executive review. As VP level management, I had to sign off on departures from account teams. Callum's resignation letter sat on top. Standard language. 2 weeks notice. Professional courtesy. My signature line was at the bottom, right above Sarah's. The irony wasn't lost on me. A year ago, I'd been planning to sign papers that would make me his wife. Now I was signing papers that formalized his exit from a company where I outranked him. I signed without hesitation. My name. My title. My approval for him to leave. I scanned it and sent it to HR, then sat back in my chair. The wedding venue had kept our $5,000 deposit when I'd called to cancel months ago, but I didn't care. $5,000 felt like a small price for freedom. That evening, Mom made my favorite dinner. We didn't talk about Callum. We talked about my work, her garden, my plans for the apartment I was looking for. Normal things. Good things. As we finished dessert, my phone buzzed. LinkedIn message from someone I didn't know. Ms. Bailey, my name is Trevor Harrison. I worked with Callum at his new company. He's been telling people you sabotaged his career at Meridian, bad-mouthing you to clients and potential employers. Just a heads up from someone who knows the real story. Congratulations on your promotion. I showed Mom. Are you going to respond? No. Let him tell his story. People who matter will figure out the truth. And people who don't matter? I don't have time to worry about them anymore. We walked back to her car through the November evening. Somewhere, Callum was nursing his resentment, telling anyone who would listen how I'd wronged him. And I was here, full of good food and good wine, with a career I'd earned and a future I'd built myself. His opinion wasn't required anymore. That felt like freedom. January brought snow and rhythm. Work that challenged me. Colleagues who respected me. Evenings where I didn't manage anyone's ego. My team had expanded to 23 people. Every Monday we met to review accounts, strategize, celebrate wins. Ebony had become my unofficial second, her energy complementing my methodical approach. We were reviewing Q1 projections when my assistant knocked. "Ms. Bailey? There's someone here without an appointment. She says she's an old friend." "Who?" "Ivy Monteux." Ebony's eyebrows shot up. "Callum's sister?" "Give me a minute." Ivy stood in my office looking uncomfortable, weight lost, face drawn with stress. We hadn't spoken since that family dinner months ago. "Thank you for seeing me," she said. "I know I'm probably the last person you want to talk to." "Sit down." "What's going on?" She perched on the chair edge, purse clutched like a shield. "I need to apologize. For how I acted, what I said, how my family treated you." I waited. "Callum's not doing well. Got a job at a smaller firm but lasted 6 weeks before they let him go. Now he's unemployed for a month, living with our parents. Angry all the time. Blames you for everything. Mom feeds into it." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I spent Christmas listening to them trash you for 3 hours, and I realized something. You didn't do anything wrong. You took a job you were qualified for and did it well. My brother couldn't handle not being the center of attention." Tears started. I'd been thinking about my own marriage. How I gave up my career when Thomas wanted me to. How I stopped seeing friends he didn't approve of. How I made myself smaller until I barely recognized myself. "I saw you refuse to do that and called you selfish. But you weren't selfish. You were brave." I handed her a tissue. "I'm leaving Thomas," she said quietly. "Filed papers last week. Looking for a job for the first time in 8 years. I'm terrified, but I keep thinking, if you could walk away from a wedding 4 months out because you knew it was wrong, maybe I can do this." "Ivy. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know that what you did mattered. Not just for you. For me too. You showed me it was possible to choose yourself." 2 days later, I was in Milwaukee for quarterly review with Marcus Williams. Over lunch, Marcus said, "I heard your ex is struggling." "Where'd you hear that?" "He reached out last week. Asked if I'd be a reference." Marcus's expression was dry. I politely declined. "You didn't have to." "Actually, I did. He wanted me to say he was primary relationship manager on our account. I'm not going to lie for him, Addie. You saved that partnership." He leaned back. He also asked if I knew of openings. Said he'd been unfairly pushed out due to political circumstances beyond his control. "What did you tell him?" "That I'd keep an ear out." Marcus grinned. "Didn't say I'd keep an ear out for him specifically. Let him interpret that however." "You're terrible." "I'm honest. Real talk, how are you doing?" "Strange watching your ex's career implode while yours takes off. Sometimes I feel guilty. Like maybe I should have handled it differently." "How?" "By staying small so he could stay comfortable. By turning down opportunities so he wouldn't feel threatened." No buts. You did nothing wrong. You took a job. You did it well. The rest is on him. You know the difference between you and Callum? You built real relationships based on mutual respect. He built transactions disguised as relationships. When things got tough, yours held because they were real. His fell apart because they were always contingent on him being on top. That evening, working late, my phone rang. International number, UK code. Addison Bailey. Ms. Bailey, Richard Chen calling from our London office. Hope I'm not catching you at a bad time. Richard Chen was European Operations Director, one level above Sarah. Not at all. What can I do for you? I've been reviewing North American performance. Your division's numbers are exceptional. Client retention up 19%, new business up 23%, team satisfaction highest we've seen in 5 years. Sarah speaks highly of you. Thank you. It's not kindness, it's data. He chuckled. We're planning global expansion of the strategic partnerships model. We want to implement your approach across all regional offices, Singapore, Tokyo, Dubai, London. We need someone to lead implementation. My heart beat faster. The position would be VP of Global Strategic Initiatives. Based in Chicago but travel internationally about 40%. You'd have direct reports in 6 countries and sit on the Global Executive Committee. It's a significant step up, usually reserved for people with 10 to 15 years more experience. But you've proven experience isn't always measured in years. Sometimes it's measured in impact. You've made more impact in 4 months than some make in a decade. When would you need an answer? Take a week. Discuss with Sarah. Think about whether this is right for your trajectory. But Addison? Between you and me, I hope you say yes. We need leaders who build people up instead of climbing over them. After we hung up, I sat looking at city lights below. 6 months ago, I was planning a wedding and being called just a housewife in Arabic. Now I was being offered global leadership that would put my name alongside people I'd studied in business school. I called Mom. Global VP, she shrieked. Honey, that's incredible. Are you taking it? I think so. Is that crazy? The only crazy thing would be saying no because you're worried what someone else might think. You know this means Callum will hear about it. His family will have opinions. Let them. The view from my Dubai hotel showed the Burj Khalifa lit against the night sky. I'd been VP of Global Strategic Initiatives for 5 months. Building teams across continents, restructuring protocols, teaching offices the approach that worked, treat clients like partners, not transactions. My suitcase was half packed from Singapore. Tomorrow, London for quarterly summit. Next week, Tokyo. Month after, Chicago for 2 weeks before Sao Paulo. Exhausting and exhilarating. I called Ebony, who now ran North American Strategic Partnerships after I'd promoted her when I moved to Global. Boss. How's Dubai? Hot. Sandy. Expensive. What's going on? Dubai team loves you. Amir said you're the first headquarters executive who actually listened instead of imposing American strategies. That's the job. You'd be surprised how rare that is. Second thing, Callum got a job. My stomach tightened. Where? Small consulting firm. Regional account manager. 3 levels below where he was at Meridian. Good for him. I mean that. I know you do. That's what makes you different. Ebony paused. He's engaged again. To Vanessa. Her family owns the firm where he works. Of course. Callum understood strategic relationships, even if he couldn't maintain them professionally. I hope he's happy, I said, and meant it. The Meridian Global Leadership Summit took place in a converted Victorian building in Mayfair. 50 executives from around the world. I was youngest by 8 years, one of 12 women. Richard Chen opened with performance reviews. When he got to strategic initiatives, he pulled up my division's metrics. Client retention across all regions implementing the partnership protocol, up 32%. New business, up 41%. Employee satisfaction, up 28%. Cost per acquisition, down 19%. Addison, walk us through implementation challenges? Richard asked. I stood. 6 months ago, this would have terrified me. Now it just felt like work. The biggest challenge isn't the system, it's getting people to understand relationships can't be transactional if you want them to last. In every region, I've encountered executives who think client management means manipulation. It doesn't. It means genuine partnership, which requires vulnerability and trust. An older man from Sydney raised his hand. With respect, that sounds idealistic. Business is business. Sometimes you prioritize profit over feelings. I'm not talking about feelings. I'm talking about sustainability. Transactional relationships last until someone offers a better transaction. Partnership-based relationships last because both parties invest in mutual success. The data proves it. I gestured to the screen. These aren't feel-good metrics. These are revenue and retention numbers. Sarah, front row, smiled. After my presentation, people approached with questions, challenges, implementation requests. I scheduled follow-ups, exchanged contacts, felt the satisfaction of work that mattered beyond quarterly reports. That evening, Sarah and I had drinks at a pub near the hotel. "You've changed," Sarah observed. "How?" "6 months ago, brilliant but tentative. Like you were waiting for permission to take up space. Now you just take it. Naturally. I feel more solid. Like I'm standing on ground instead of quicksand. That's what happens when you stop building your life around someone else's insecurities." She sipped whiskey. "I got a call last week. Someone asking for a reference for a speaking engagement. Women in Business Conference. Apparently word's gotten around about the executive who walked away from a wedding to take a job where she outranked her ex. I didn't do it for that reason. I know. But it's compelling. Woman chooses career over marriage, succeeds dramatically, inspires others. The organizer called you the woman who refused to be diminished. That feels reductive. Maybe. But sometimes people need simple narratives for complex decisions. Sarah set down her glass. I've had 6 women reach out in 3 months. All said the same thing: seeing you refuse to make yourself smaller made them realize they'd been doing exactly that. That's important, Addie. You didn't just change your trajectory. You changed the culture. Back in my hotel, jet-lagged but wired, I opened my laptop. Then I saw one that made me pause. Sender, Callum Monteux. Subject, a conversation long overdue. I stared before opening it. Dear Addison. I hope this finds you well. I am writing after much contemplation. I owe you apologies. When you were with Callum, I treated you as an accessory to his life rather than as a person with your own worth. I pressured you to conform, dismissed your career, made you feel your value was contingent on supporting my son while erasing yourself. When you chose your career, I blamed you for Callum's struggles. I was wrong. Ivy visited last month. Told me about her divorce, the job she's starting, how your example gave her courage. At first I was angry at you for putting ideas in her head. Then I realized, you didn't put ideas there. You simply showed her women don't have to shrink to fit spaces that weren't built for them. I've spent weeks thinking about the advice I gave my daughters and daughters-in-law. The example I set. The ways I taught my sons that women exist to support rather than succeed. I am ashamed. You did nothing wrong. You excelled at your job. You refused to dim your light so my son could feel brighter. I should have celebrated your success instead of resenting it. Callum is learning. Slowly. His new position has humbled him. He's begun to understand the relationships you built were real while his were transactional. That your success wasn't luck or sabotage, but earned. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know that I see now what I couldn't see then. You were never the problem. My expectations were. I wish you continued success. With regret and respect, Callum Monteux. I read it 3 times. Then closed my laptop and looked at the Dubai skyline, glittering with wealth of people who'd refused to make themselves small. Tomorrow, I'd respond. Something gracious but boundaried. Acknowledging her growth without absolving her completely. But tonight, I just sat with it. With the strange satisfaction of knowing the woman who'd once called me just a housewife now saw me clearly. Not because I'd sought her approval, but because I'd stopped needing it. I landed at O'Hare on a Thursday in October, exactly 1 year after I'd driven to Mom's house with a suitcase and a decision. The city looked different. Or I looked at it differently. My Wicker Park apartment had become home. Plants on windowsills. Books stacked on tables. Artwork I'd chosen because I liked it. That evening, I met Ebony and Sarah for dinner, our monthly tradition. So, Ebony said, pouring wine, I have gossip. Callum got married last weekend. Small ceremony, just family. I felt a small twinge. Not regret. Recognition. That could have been me. I hope he's happy. Genuinely. You really mean that? Ebony shook her head. I don't know if I could be that gracious. It's not graciousness. We wanted different things. He wanted someone to support his ambition. I wanted someone who celebrated mine. Neither desire is wrong, they just weren't compatible. Sarah raised her glass. To incompatibility recognized before it becomes marriage. We drank to that. Saturday morning, favorite coffee shop, laptop open, working on Tokyo presentation. Addison? I looked up. Callum stood there, uncertain in a way I'd never seen. Callum. Hi. Can I sit? I gestured to the empty chair. He sat carefully, like sudden movements might break something. I heard you were in town. I wasn't sure if I should reach out. How are you? Good. Really good, actually. The new job is humbling. But good. Vanessa, my wife, she's patient. Calls me out when I'm arrogant. Doesn't let me get away with the stuff I used to. I'm glad you found that. I'm sorry. For everything. For how I treated you, the things I said, making your success feel like a threat. You deserved better. Thank you. I saw the Forbes article. The 30 under 30-foot list. I showed Vanessa, and she asked why we broke up. I told her the truth, that you were brilliant and ambitious, and I was too insecure to handle it. I looked at him, really looked. The man across from me seemed smaller but more real. The polish had worn off, revealing someone more human. We both made mistakes, I said. I should have spoken up earlier instead of accommodating until I couldn't. Maybe. But I should have been someone you felt safe speaking up to. He finished his coffee. I won't keep you. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. And that I'm proud of what you've accomplished. Even if it makes me feel like an idiot for not seeing your value when I had the chance. Sunday evening, Mom's kitchen smelled like garlic and rosemary. You seem lighter, she observed. I feel lighter. Because of Callum? Partly. But more because I realized I spent so long being angry at him for diminishing me that I didn't notice I'd stopped diminishing myself. Mom smiled. That's growth. My phone buzzed. Text from Richard Chen, Board approved Asia Pacific expansion. You're officially Senior VP effective January 1st. Congratulations. Senior VP. At 33. Leading operations across 14 countries. I showed Mom. Are you accepting? Are you kidding? Of course. She pulled me into a hug, smelling of lavender soap. Your father would be so proud. I'm so proud. Monday morning, I woke as sunrise painted my walls gold. Made coffee in my simple maker, no Italian machinery required. Put on my navy blazer, the same one I'd pulled from the closet a year ago when I'd remembered who I was. My phone showed 3 LinkedIn requests, 2 podcast interview requests, and a message from Ivy asking if I'd mentor her as she rebuilt her career. I walked to Meridian through October air that smelled like possibility. In the lobby, Marcus greeted me. Addison. Thought you were in Singapore. Got back Thursday. Leaving for London tomorrow. Before you go, we're expanding our partnership with Meridian. Doubling our contract. I told the board it's specifically because of you. Because you built something real. At my desk, I looked at the photo I kept framed. Not the ocean sunset anymore, but from the Global Leadership Summit. 50 executives, me right in the center, belonging completely. My calendar showed meetings across 4 time zones. Tokyo at 6 a.m. Singapore at noon. Dubai at 4 p.m. London at 8 p.m. A year ago, I'd been planning a wedding to a man who called me just a housewife, in a language he thought I wouldn't understand. Now I was senior VP of a global division, leading teams across continents, making decisions affecting thousands, doing it all while being completely, unapologetically myself. I opened my laptop and typed an email to Layla. Layla, thank you for your message. I accept your apology and appreciate your growth. We all do the best we can with the understanding we have at the time. I wish you and your family well. Addison. Then I pulled up the presentation for my 6 a.m. call and got to work. Because that's what you do when you finally stop making yourself small. You fill the space you're meant to occupy. You do the work you're meant to do. And you refuse to apologize for being exactly who you are. The ocean had taught me that, back on that coast when everything fell apart. Indifference to others' expectations isn't cruelty. Sometimes, it's freedom. And freedom tasted like coffee you made yourself, in an apartment you chose, wearing a blazer that fits perfectly because you never had to alter it to fit someone else's vision of who you should be. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.